Hi, it's Rich at Marvelous Ministries. Well, we're back to needs and wants. Well, God gave us what we need. He started with Adam and Eve. He gave us everything that we needed, and why would we want anything more? Well, the serpent slithered in and convinced us that we need other things that we want. Okay. This probably isn't going to be very politically correct, but I'm not a fan of being politically correct. I am a Christian and I'm a follower of Christ. I'm seeking Him with all of my heart and abiding in the vine. So with that, God said, Adam, it's not good for you to be alone, so I'm going to make you a suitable helper. And each of you are going to be responsible for meeting certain needs that each of you have. Some of them are similar, and some of them are different. And we have a choice. We can either live by what God tells us to do and meet the needs of our spouses, husbands to the wives and wives to your husbands. I'm sorry, that said husbands. Only one husband. I don't know. Wives too. Believe me, I don't know why in biblical times, other than to brag or show off, would a king, David or Solomon, why would you want more than one wife? Let alone 1,000. Okay, let me get back off my bunny trail. But why would you want something different? Husbands, why would you want to look at another woman and the way you're supposed to want to look at your wife? Maybe you want to look at your wife that way. Maybe you do look at your wife that way. You look at your wife, you're attracted to her, you desire her, and your wife doesn't want to meet your needs. Well, there's a difference there. There's a need and there's a want. I don't want to meet your needs. Okay, well, that's going against God, which is what the serpent wants us to do. Okay. Do you want your husband to look at pornography? Do you want your husband to look at other women? Do you want your husband to respond to other women who maybe make him feel better than you make him feel? I don't think you want that. But when you don't want to meet your husband's needs, which are according to what God says, then you're encouraging or opening the door at the very least for your husband to be tempted. Like bathing on a rooftop. Yes, David probably already knew all about that. It's probably a local custom, since there wasn't a private place other than that. Although I think they would know that the king has a prime viewing area. So maybe that's what Bathsheba wanted. But seriously, husbands, God tells you to meet your wife, the needs of your wife. I'll say it that way. And if you don't want to, then you're going against what God says. And you're doing exactly what the serpent says. So maybe your wife wants help around the house. Maybe to not feel neglected. Maybe she wants to feel more appreciation or romance before the physical intimacy. And maybe the man wants physical intimacy to have more of the emotional attachment and closeness. But when we insist on things our way, I want our life to be this way. Okay, is it a fight for control, or is it just a fight for what you want? When you neglect the needs of each other, you open the door for the serpent. You open the door for temptation. You open the door for the world to enter in. I mean, does a man want a woman that looks like what he sees with pornography? Or maybe it's the act. Maybe it's the willingness to be intimate. Say what God gives us that is good, the enemy will twist and make it evil. How do you deal with the disappointments in your life? How do you deal with the heartache and the pain and the suffering in your life? People medicate all the time. Lately it's fentanyl. It's drugs. It's marijuana or cocaine or whatever, alcohol. Some people it's activities. Some people it's adrenaline. But if we would just go back to meeting the needs according to what God says, but we do it in a godly way. David and Bathsheba didn't do it God's way, and other people paid the price. And I just pray that people don't get to a point in their life where they have their heart changed and their eyes open, and they look back in their past like Saul. Once he became Paul, if he looked back at all the lives he destroyed, the people he killed in the name of Christ or the name of God, or even me and the people that even before my heart was fully right to where it is today, I look back 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago at people that I interacted with, that I hurt, not intentionally, but just because I was so hurt, I was so broken, and I always felt horrified about it. Ashamed. Shame is what's missing in this world. Nobody feels ashamed for the way they live. They just justify it. They excuse it. You do something out of fear. Well, fear is not from God. It's from Satan. Love is from God. Love other people enough to deny yourself and not sacrifice them or their lives. That is something that honors God. That is something that is godly. That is something that is missing from this world. Delay self-gratification, lust, and pleasures. Deny yourself of that. Take up your cross and wait for God to meet your needs His way instead of us meeting our desires and our wants the serpent's way.